Iran's national football team left the United States, abandoning a tournament meant for global celebration. Instead, the event became a backdrop for a brutal 108-day war. This sudden departure marked a tragic shift from sport to conflict. The United States, Canada, and Mexico will co-host the 266th FIFA World Cup, bringing the massive tournament to North America. This conflict went beyond diplomacy, escalating fighting between the US, Israel, and Iran changed the entire tournament trajectory, fundamentally altering the competitive landscape. The Iranian football team has been granted permission to move their base out of the United States amid tense diplomatic relations and the recent conflict between the two nations. Diplomatic relations officially broke on April 7, 1980, following the sudden decision that the Iranian embassy in Washington, D.C. closed. Iran has not sent an official ambassador to the United States since that era. A chief of the interest section runs Iranian interests from the Pakistani embassy. This arrangement allows for diplomatic operations despite the lack of full-scale embassy presence. Before 1944, the U.S. sent a diplomatic minister to Iran instead of a full ambassador. The United States government has been represented in Iran by the United States Interests section of the Embassy of Switzerland in Tehran. The two nations have been at war since February, a conflict that lasted 4 months before a preliminary agreement was announced to end the hostilities. The violence peaked when a coordinated military operation occurred, causing global outcry. This sudden escalation triggered widespread condemnation from international leaders. The United States and Israel launched nearly 900 coordinated airstrikes across Iran in a rapid, large-scale operation. The rapid strike hit various government buildings and critical missile sites in under 12 hours. The initial strikes killed Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, causing instant, widespread devastation throughout the region. The strike killed dozens of senior Iranian military and political officials during those first few hours. The targeted killing of the Iranian leaders sparked a devastating 18-day war, an intense period of conflict that ultimately resulted in killing thousands of people. As the 2006 World Cup approached, the Iranian team moved their base out of the United States due to tense diplomatic relations. During a friendly match against Gambia, Iran's head coach Amir Ghalenoei and Vice President Mahdi Mohammad Nabi stood for the national anthem, creating a tense atmosphere. Middle East war impacts Iran's 2026 FIFA World Cup. The squad faced immigration questioning at Los Angeles International Airport, with players and coaches encountering unjustified delays. After drawing 2-2 with New Zealand in Los Angeles, the squad tried moving to their Tijuana base camp, but faced significant logistical complications. The squad faced significant complications as the ongoing war between the US and Iran created intense diplomatic tensions. These pressures have even led the team to seek permission to move their base out of the United States. And Manikat added in June, the Iranian football team was granted permission to move their base out of the United States due to diplomatic tensions, while demonstrators waved banned flags outside the team's first match. Meanwhile, the US government sanctioned several Iranian officials, targeting key figures within the regime. In the past 6 months, several Iranian diplomats posted at the United Nations have been expelled from the US, according to a State Department official. Recent reports suggest the Trump administration is closely scrutinizing the personal lives of Iranians residing in America. As the football team departed, a decisive military victory finally changed the course of the war. Iran and the USA announced a preliminary deal to end the 108-day conflict on June 15, 2066. Pakistan brokered this deal, and officials plan to finalize it in Geneva, Switzerland. The deal also reopens the Strait of Hormuz for toll-free shipping, effectively removing previous transit barriers. The deal requires stopping all fighting on several fronts, specifically in Lebanon, to ensure a lasting ceasefire. Iranian officials stated the deal provides for an immediate suspension of hostilities across multiple fronts, including Lebanon, though Israel says its forces will remain deployed in southern parts of the country. The war's end brings a fragile peace, yet the geopolitical fallout will reshape global power structures. Ongoing US and Iran negotiations regarding nuclear limits and sanctions relief prove the underlying tension hasn't broken, as diplomatic efforts struggle to resolve deep-seated geopolitical friction. The FIFA World Cup carries a permanent scar from seeing national teams flee host nations during recent tournaments. Now, we must see if this preliminary agreement survives, or if revoking visas for thousands of elites will spark new conflict. The central question remains whether the proposed revocation of visas for nearly 4,000 Iranian elites living in America will lead to further escalation. Everyone is looking at Geneva to see if Friday's signed memorandum of understanding actually creates stability. Moving the Iranian squad to Mexico wasn't a choice for better training. They moved because they could no longer safely travel through the United States due to border closures. The team was granted permission to move their base out of the United States amid diplomatic tensions. This followed a period of escalation, including a US fighter jet being downed over Iran. This sudden displacement shows how easily international sports structures collapse during periods of intense warfare. Ultimately, the delegation's physical survival mattered far more than the stadium's scheduled competition could ever endure. The Iranian squad traveled to its base camp in Tijuana, Mexico, following their match in Los Angeles. Leaving the United States abruptly broke the tournament's original schedule. This sudden departure forced organizers to quickly find new venues and renegotiate complex security contracts across multiple international locations. Footballers have noted that the ongoing Middle East war will create a lot of pressure for them. This event shows how sudden local geopolitical shifts can instantly wreck the massive, carefully planned infrastructure required for a global mega-event. Moving the team's headquarters also messed up the fan ecosystem. Many supporters who booked flights to the US had to cancel trips and find entirely new travel routes. The Iranian squad was traveling back to its base camp in Tijuana, Mexico, when complications emerged after members were stopped at Los Angeles International Airport. The 108-day war between the US and Iran brought intense instability. As diplomatic tensions grew, the Iranian team even moved their base out of the United States. Iran's exit proves the World Cup is no longer just about sports. The tournament is now tied directly to the ongoing realities of global warfare and geopolitical conflict, reflecting how international football remains deeply intertwined with shifting global power dynamics. Tensions escalated in early 2006 after a US fighter jet was downed over Iranian territory. The US and Iran have signed a historic peace agreement to end the 4-month war. Subscribe and hit the bell to see our full breakdown of the Geneva negotiations coming next week. How do you feel about the US lifting the naval blockade? Share your thoughts in the comments.